Good morning, afternoon, or evening. My name is Shannon, and today I'm going to be doing the beginning of year book tag. I just saw this video this morning. I saw that Larry uploaded it, and I was instantly intrigued. I'm going to leave her video in the description and all the questions in the description. All credit goes to her, but let's just get started. So the first question is, how many books are you planning on reading this year? I'm really hoping to read anywhere from 100 to 120 books this year, because I read, I think, 110 last year, and I think that 120 is feasible for me. I would just need to read 12 books at least a month, and I think that's possible. Any more than that would just be awesome as well. The next question was your most anticipated releases of this year. I picked 4. So the first one, obviously, Magnolia Park's Into the Dark. This book comes out next week. I'm wildly ecstatic. It is the 5th book in the Magnolia Park series. It is the last book we get from the Magnolia Park's perspective in this series. I'm so excited for this book to come out. Then we have Taming 7, which I believe comes out April 7th. It is the 5th book in the Boys of Tommen series. It follows 2 of my favorite characters' romance. I'm also wildly excited for that book to come out. Then there is Swift and Saddled by Lila Sage. This is the 2nd book in the Rebel Blue Ranch series, I think. This book follows Clemmy's older brother and his house renovator and their romance, and I think it's going to be really good. It's a cowboy, small town. I eat those romances up. The Eden series, the Chestnut Springs series, this series, I just love the cowboy, ranch, small town aesthetic. And then the last one, I actually hadn't heard about this book until maybe a couple weeks ago, but it is called Girl Abroad by Elle Kennedy, and it is about a girl who moves to London and she ends up living with 3 guys, I think, and it's a love triangle, and it sounds so good. But what mainly incentivized me was the whole roommate plot, because it reminded me so much of New Girl, which is a TV show that I absolutely adore. I have loved that book since I was in like 7th grade, and I really want to see how that will be translated into a book format. The next question was a book that is on your physical TBR but will likely never get read, and unfortunately I have to say, for me, that is The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. Don't get me wrong, it sounds really interesting. I'm not even going to try to explain the description because I would not know how to unless I read straight from the back, which you guys could just look up if you wanted to. But this book sounds so confusing, and it's very high fantasy and epic fantasy, and I feel that I would get very twisted and turned around, and I feel like the world building would be a little much for me. Maybe I need to read some other fantasy books prior and I'd be able to get into it, but as I am right now, no way I could read this. The next question was a genre you want to get more into, and for me that is fantasy and mystery, because I really enjoy mysteries and fantasies. I just primarily read romance. I think I just need to find the right book to get me into it more. And then the next question is related in an essence to this question, and it is the book that made you want to get more into those genres. And for fantasy, it is absolutely ACOTAR for me. That was the series that got me into fantasy. I just absolutely adore that series, and I probably wouldn't have read even as many fantasy books as I have read now, which isn't a lot, but I probably wouldn't have gotten that much at all if I hadn't read ACOTAR. And then for mysteries, I don't think I've ever seen anyone talk about this book, but I read Greenwich Park by Catherine Faulkner almost 2 years ago now, and I rated it 5 stars. I absolutely adore this book. It is a mystery, thriller, suspense kind of vibe where Helen is pregnant with her husband's baby and she's going to these birthing classes, and she meets this friend, Rachel, and they start to form a really weird bond, and Rachel starts to show up a lot in Helen's life, and then Rachel eventually goes missing, and it is very twisty and turny. It's kind of slow in the first 150 pages, so you have to give it time, but it's really, really good, and I definitely want to get more into mystery because of it. The next question is a book you would likely reread, and that book would have to be Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. I adore this book. I've read this twice already. This is the book that got me into romance, actually. I will probably end up rereading this every year of my life just because I love this story that much. It's just such a wholesome story about such a soft, quiet man who meets someone that finally puts in the effort to have a relationship with him, and it's just such a good story. The next question is a book you wanted to get to in 2023 but didn't, and now it's a priority in 2024. So for me, that would have to be Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I've heard nothing but amazing things about this series, and I'm very, very excited to get to it. I hear it's like Hunger Games with magic. I'm just very interested in this, and I hope to read it really soon. I'm just very scared that I will be let down, which is why I haven't yet. The next question is a series you really want to get to in 2024, and that would have to be the Addicted Calloway Sister series. I have been hearing things about this series the entire time I have been on BookTube and BookTok. This is one of the series that consistently gets recommended to people, and for good reason. I have read Addicted to You, but that's it. I rated it 4.75 stars. I absolutely loved it, and I really hope I can get to the rest of it this year. This whole series follows the Calloway sisters and their respective romances, and I feel like what gets left out a lot when recommending these series is that they're like super rich, like Gossip Girl Magnolia Parks series rich, and it's really, really good, but I would like to really finish it this year. The next question is an author you've never read but would really like to get to this year, and for me that would have to be Miss V.E. Schwab. I own quite a few of her books, actually. I have the Vicious Vengeful duology, and I have the Darker Shades of Magic series. I also have 2 copies of The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I've heard so many wonderful things about her writing and the way that she tells stories, and I just really hope I can get to one of her books this year. The next question is an author you're not likely to revisit this year, and I do have 2, but one in specific just screams out at me, and that is Monica Murphy. If you saw my January reading wrap-up, you would know exactly why, but I'm just gonna sum it up real quick. She writes such incredibly toxic romances, and she goes into incredibly murky areas and almost, like, I don't even see how it's morally gray. It's just wrong areas when it comes to consent, and I legitimately detested the last book of hers that I read, so I will definitely never be reading another Monica Murphy book. The next question is a popular book that you would like to read, and for me that would have to be Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I don't know why I've put off reading this series for so long. I think I'm just very scared by the size and how much people say about it, but I would really, really at least like to start it. The next question is a non-popular book you would like to read, and I wouldn't say it's disliked, but I've never heard anyone talk about it, and it is Eligible by Curtis Sittenfeld. This is a modern Pride and Prejudice retelling, and I feel like that's all I need to say about it for you to understand why I want to read it. I absolutely adore Pride and Prejudice, and I imagine I will end up loving this as well. The next question is an audiobook you would like to listen to. Now, I don't really go out of my way to read a specific audiobook, but one that I think would be absolutely enthralling to listen to is Daisy Hates the Great Undoing, because they use actual voice actors and they have different narrators for each perspective in the book, and I think it will end up being absolutely incredible if I were to listen to this. And if you didn't know, this is my favorite book ever. I just imagine that I would end up really enjoying this audiobook. The next question is a book you would like to read based off of the cover, and for me this one was easy. It is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I have been told that this book is exactly what the title states. It is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, and that is what she sets out to do, make an encyclopedia. And this cover, it's art, and this is the hard cover too. There is no dust jacket. I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. The next question is a adaptation that you were really looking forward to this year, and for me this was easy. It is definitely the next season of Bridgerton. I don't know why they skipped the third book in the series and went straight to the fourth for the third season, but that doesn't mean I'm any less excited to watch Colin and Penelope's story unfold on screen, especially given how good the series has been so far. I understand that it probably won't be super accurate just because it hasn't been really, because the second season wasn't really accurate either, but I imagine I will still really enjoy it. The next question is something bookish you would like to start doing this year, and for me that would be to get more into audiobooks, because I just recently started listening to audiobooks and I really enjoy them for when I'm doing things and I can't actually have my face in a book. My only problem is I really like annotating every book I read, or at least being able to, and I don't really get that option with audiobooks, so I'll need to get over that because I do really enjoy listening to books. The next question is something bookish you would like to stop doing this year, and for me that's easy. It's definitely I need to stop binging books, because when I do, and I typically do binge books, is I end up forgetting a lot of stuff because I didn't take my time, especially when I binge series, because they all just meld together and it becomes really hard for me to be able to differentiate between what happened in one book versus the other. The next question is a 2024 bookish goal, and for me I would probably say that my biggest goal is to read 30% fantasy. So at the end of the year, 30% of the books I read all year were fantasy. At least 30%. Just because most of the books I read last year were romance. And I really enjoy romance, but I would like to cast a broader net with what I'm reading. The next question is a booktube goal you have for yourself, and I think I want to make my goal for this year to hit 1,000 subscribers. And I know I did just hit 500, but I think 1,000 is an achievable goal for me, and I think it would be absolutely incredible if I could keep growing my channel the way that I have these past couple months. The next question is a non-bookish goal for 2024, and for me I think that would be to get a new car, because last year I bought a motorcycle and that was awesome and I love my motorcycle, but I would like to get a new car, so that's a pretty big goal, but I would like to try to achieve that this year. The next question is, describe how you want 2024 to go in one word. And for me, that word is going to be grow this year, because I am 22. I turned 22 last year. I'll turn 23 this year. And I feel like this is a very large period of growth in my life, and just the way that I'm changing, and I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of growth that can be done this year. The next question is booktubers who inspire you, and I have 5 actually. These are the ones that I watch the most. I pretty much have their videos as background play for most of my days. It is Steph, Sarah, Destiny, Rachel, and Heather. I love their videos. I primarily watch their vlogs, but I do enjoy watching some of their wrap-up videos as well, like when I'm getting ready for the day. I just absolutely love them as creators, and I'm sure that most of you know who I'm talking about when I say those names. If not, I'll link them below. I absolutely love their channels. The last question for this video is something you want to say to anyone who wants to start a book account, and all I have to say is do it. Like, I can't imagine you'll regret it, but I can't imagine you'll regret not doing it, because whatever it is holding you back, I promise you it's not gonna matter in the long run. But those are all the questions for this video. I sincerely hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this. All of my social media is linked down below. Make sure you turn on the post notification bell so you guys can get notified right when I post a new video. I hope you all are having an absolutely wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening wherever you are in the world, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!